You know, I came to the Impact Fellows program like most people because racial equity was important to me.
Impact's given me an opportunity to take a deep dive into an industry with some incredible professionals that have given us an opportunity to examine things in a different way than we have in the past.
So while I initially thought that the Impact Fellows program was going to be about leadership and providing leadership in the implementation of the Ferguson Commission's calls to action, that has been obviously our focus in the broader sense, but for me personally, it's been a transformative year in the sense that I now have a much better understanding of what racial equity is.
I think the biggest thing I learned through Impact was that we all have a stake in this in terms of like regionalism and making impact, excuse the pun, in our region, and what is it that it takes to do that. And so I really loved kind of digging into the Ferguson Commission report and taking that as the starting point to the work that we're doing. It's been a mix of learning more about St. Louis, learning more about racial equity in the area, but then also learning a little bit more about myself and seeing how do I fit into the scope of what we do in St. Louis.
What I've learned through Impact is interesting. We learned a bunch of leadership skills, but what we've learned mostly is how to implement those leadership skills and techniques.
So, I feel like I've learned a ton. It's been an unbelievable experience. What's most impactful to me is the time spent with others, hearing their different perspectives, people with different backgrounds, people with different races, different perspectives.
So I think the biggest takeaway for me has been awareness of some of the systemic issues that we have, as well as my own internal biases and how they may have played out, throughout my life. And I've definitely become more aware of biases and racism taking place in subtle ways, and it's great to be awake to that phenomena.
I think the biggest thing is really that I've learned is that there is a group of people that are very passionate about a variety of topics in our community around racial inequity, and that they're willing to volunteer and spend their time researching and interviewing and coming up with solutions to try to make things better in our community. And that's really been very enlightening and been very exciting to be part of. It's just the energy that comes from a group of people who are like-minded, but have diverse backgrounds and experiences that they come to the table with.
It also is really inspiring to work with this big group of people and learn that we are all interested, beyond just reading an article, but interested to the point that we want to make a difference and that we're willing to basically give up our free time and work together and do everything that we know and is in our power. And then as we've started to do these things, I've learned more and more every time I'm with this group.
I've been in St. Louis for 30 years. I choose to live in St. Louis, and yet there's so much that I've yet to learn about St. Louis. As an active participant in the community, the Impact Group has broadened my knowledge about what it means to be an active leader in the community.
The experience has been challenging, it's been enlightening, it's been emotional, but overall it's been really rewarding. I couldn't be happier that I've been a part of this process and this program.
So one of the things that's really cool about this is that we all have the day-to-day work that we do at our jobs, right? That we're paid to do, that we sustain ourselves doing. There's so much other work to be done in our community, and it's really, really great for a program to have as its mission project-oriented work that needs to be done, but is not necessarily anyone's full-time job.
I think the biggest impact is, if we're talking frank, the diversity of the group. Having white people in the group, having people of color in the group that care about this work, that are doing this work, is very inspirational and inspiring. And it really kind of teaches you that, you don't have to look a certain way or be from a certain area to do good work and to help us move the needle.
So I did Leadership St. Louis several years ago, and it was a wonderful experience. I learned a lot. Again, learned a lot about the region, met a lot of great people, lifelong friends. But this project was really about doing versus learning. And we were learning what we were doing, but the idea was that we would come out the other side of this with something tangible. And I think we did that, and it's a completely different experience. Then it's much more fulfilling, and hopefully it will have a long-term impact.
So I would say it's been a whole gamut of emotions, but as we come to the end of the program, I would say it's definitely a little bit of relief, a little bit of anxiety, and a little bit of anticipation of, you know, what is our community going to do with our 3 projects.
Personally, it's shown me that the leadership that it takes to do this work, you have to be tough, and you have to have grit, and you have to be able to hang in there when it's frustrating, it's complicated, and you feel like you're not doing anything.
It really got me thinking sort of beyond. It was easy to sort of look at this in sort of a professional lens, and how can I make this region better, not just with my work professionally, but, you know, what can we do with that? But the longer and harder that I dug in it, it really was, I have to do this for my children.
It is life-altering. It has changed me in a powerful way.
I would encourage anyone who is looking for a way to engage and move our community forward to apply for this program. There's a ton of people and a ton of energy around the idea of how can we move St. Louis forward, how can we be better together. And I think it's programs like this where you can actually dive in and do some of that work. There's a lot of good conversations going on. This is about action. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, I would encourage you to apply.
Because I think it changes you as a person. I think it gets to, it gets you out of, I think this is wrong kind of stuff, just the thought, and, you know, out of your thoughts into more action. And I think because once you put something into action, you really start to grow and change as a person.
Impact Fellows is awesome because it connects leaders with their passion in the community.
And knowing that not everybody can do everything, but if you take a step forward, you can often find something you can do to make a difference. And I think the Impact Group does that.